59 cents. That's what one serving costs. One fruit sitting in the freezer aisle of any grocery store in America, available in every single state. And a published clinical trial, the kind peer-reviewed by major nutrition researchers and replicated in independent follow-up studies, showed it improved insulin sensitivity in just 6 weeks. That fruit is the blueberry. But before you click away thinking you already know everything about the top fruits for blood sugar, you don't. Because most people eat them the wrong way, at the wrong time, with the wrong foods on the side, and unknowingly eliminate up to 70% of their benefits. And here's the part that should concern you. There are 7 common fruits sitting in kitchens across America right now. 3 of them are actively helping lower blood sugar. 4 of them are quietly raising it. And nobody, not your doctor, not the label on the package, not even the most popular diet trends of the last decade, is telling you which is which. Today, I'm going to rank all 7 from the worst to the best. Number 7 is the fruit that most seniors eat every summer, convinced it's completely harmless simply because it tastes like water. Number 1 is the reason a woman named Eleanor watched her A1C drop from 8.6 to 6.2 in just 90 days. Her endocrinologist asked her what she had changed. She answered with 2 words. He wrote them down. My name is Dr. Sophia, and today I'm going to show you exactly what Eleanor did, why it worked, and which fruits you need to stop eating immediately, even ones the internet insists are healthy. But before I rank a single fruit, 2 quick things, and they matter more than you think. If you're over 60 and keeping an eye on your blood sugar, subscribe. This channel exists to give you the explanation that a 12-minute office visit never has time to provide. Then leave 1 word in the comments, the fruit you eat most days of the week. I read every comment, and they tell me what topics to cover next. That's it. Now, let's get started. First, let me explain why fruit is so confusing for anyone trying to manage blood sugar. Because fruit is not just one thing. It's not like table salt, where more is worse and less is better. Think of fruit as a medicine cabinet. Some bottles inside that cabinet help heal you, some make you sicker, and a few of them look almost identical on the outside, almost identical in color, almost identical in sweetness, yet what's inside is completely different. Here's what happens inside your body when you eat fruit. The sugar in fruit is primarily fructose. Unlike glucose, fructose doesn't go directly into your bloodstream. Instead, it takes a detour. It goes to your liver first. Your liver has to process it. And in small amounts, especially when the fruit's natural fiber is still intact, your liver handles it just fine. Your blood sugar stays relatively stable. No dramatic spike, no sudden crash. But here's the part almost nobody explains. When you eat fruit without its fiber, when you juice it, blend it into a smoothie, or choose a fruit that's naturally low in fiber and high in sugar, that fructose floods your liver. Your liver becomes overwhelmed. It starts converting that fructose directly into fat. Even worse, it triggers something called hepatic insulin resistance. Your liver gradually stops responding properly to insulin. And once that happens, your fasting blood sugar begins to rise, even while you're asleep, even if you haven't eaten for 12 hours. That's why 2 pieces of fruit that look nearly identical can produce completely different results on your glucose meter. The difference isn't the fruit, it's the fiber that's still attached to it. That's exactly why some fruits help control blood sugar, while others make it worse. So let's rank them, all 7. As we go, keep a mental note of which ones are already sitting in your kitchen, because by the end of this video, you'll probably want to walk in there and rearrange a few things. Number 7, watermelon. This is the fruit I warned you about at the very beginning, the one most seniors reach for every summer because they believe it's the safest option simply because it's mostly water. And yes, it is mostly water, about 92%. That is precisely the trap. Watermelon has a glycemic index of approximately 76. In simple terms, that's actually higher than a spoonful of ordinary table sugar. And it contains very little fiber to slow down the absorption of that sugar. So that large, refreshing slice on a hot July afternoon enters your bloodstream almost as quickly as drinking a can of soda. The water tricks you into believing nothing happened. Your pancreas knows otherwise. Watermelon should be treated as an occasional treat. A few small cubes served alongside a handful of nuts, that's reasonable. It is not a fruit to eat by the bowl while relaxing on the porch. That bowl creates a significant blood sugar spike, and about an hour later, you'll likely feel the energy crash that follows. Number 6. Pineapple. Pineapple has earned a reputation as a healthy fruit, largely because it contains bromelain, an enzyme often promoted for supporting digestion and reducing inflammation. Here's the problem. Bromelain does absolutely nothing to improve your blood sugar. Meanwhile, pineapple has a glycemic index of around 66, along with a substantial amount of rapidly absorbed sugar and very little fiber to slow its effects. Canned pineapple packed in syrup is even worse. Pineapple juice is worse still, because once you remove the fiber entirely, you're back to flooding your liver with fructose exactly the way I described just a few moments ago. Fresh pineapple eaten in small amounts after a balanced meal that already contains protein and healthy fat is something your body can usually handle. But eating pineapple by itself on an empty stomach is essentially a rapid sugar delivery system with a tropical flavor. Number 5. Mango. People call mango the king of fruits, and they say it as though it's automatically a compliment to your health. One medium-sized mango contains approximately 45 grams of sugar. That's more sugar than you'll find in many candy bars. Its glycemic index is around 60. Now, mango does provide valuable vitamin C along with carotenoids, the natural orange pigments that offer genuine health benefits. But for someone trying to control blood glucose, the sheer sugar content overwhelms those benefits. So think of mango as a dessert. A few thin slices are perfectly reasonable, but half a mango chopped into your breakfast bowl is likely to produce a blood sugar reading you'll watch climb on your glucose meter. Number 4. The banana. This is the fruit you'll find in almost every kitchen across America, sitting in a bowl on the counter every single day. And this is where things become especially interesting, because the banana perfectly illustrates the entire message of this video. A banana is not a fixed food. It changes dramatically as it ripens. A firm banana with green tips contains a large amount of resistant starch, a type of carbohydrate that your body cannot digest quickly. As a result, it moves slowly through your digestive system and has only a minimal effect on your blood sugar. But as that banana sits on the kitchen counter and the peel develops brown spots, that resistant starch gradually converts into simple sugar. A heavily spotted, overripe banana can reach a glycemic index of approximately 62. The very same banana, a completely different effect just 3 days later. And here's where most people make the mistake. They choose the softest, sweetest, brownest banana, eat it by itself first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, and then wonder why they're shaky, hungry, and searching for food by 10 a.m. Half of a green-tipped banana eaten with a spoonful of peanut butter or a boiled egg is a perfectly reasonable choice. A brown, overripe banana eaten alone at 7 in the morning is almost guaranteed to produce a blood sugar spike followed by an energy crash. So there you have the first 4: watermelon, pineapple, mango, and the overripe banana. 4 fruits that may already be sitting quietly in your kitchen while working against the very goal you're trying to achieve. Now let's move on to the 3 fruits that actually work in your favor. The top 3 fruits for diabetics that I promised at the very start. These are the ones worth walking to the grocery store for. Number 3. The apple. You've heard the saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. And it turns out there's quite a bit of truth to it, with one important condition. You have to leave the skin on. The apple's greatest advantage comes from pectin, a soluble fiber found primarily just beneath the peel. Inside your digestive tract, pectin forms a gel-like substance that dramatically slows the absorption of sugar into your bloodstream. The peel also contains the majority of the apple's polyphenols, plant compounds associated with a healthier and more stable insulin response. Peel the apple, and you've essentially thrown away the medicine while keeping the sugar. Turn it into applesauce or apple juice and it becomes even less favorable. A whole apple eaten with its skin has a glycemic index of around 36, making it one of the gentlest fruits on this entire list for blood sugar control. The instruction couldn't be simpler. Eat the whole apple, keep the skin on, pair it with a tablespoon of nut butter if you want even smoother results. That's it. Number 2. The kiwi. And this one surprises almost everyone. Kiwi is the fruit most people completely overlook, sitting quietly in the produce section between the bananas and the mangoes, with its fuzzy brown skin rarely earning a second look. And that is a genuine shame, because for blood sugar control, kiwi is close to extraordinary. A single medium kiwi contains roughly 2 to 3 grams of fiber. That may not sound impressive until you consider the size of the fruit. Kiwi has one of the highest fiber-to-sugar ratios of almost any fruit in your grocery store. Its glycemic index is around 50 for green kiwi and even lower in some clinical measurements when the fruit is eaten whole. The glycemic load, which is the more accurate measure of how a typical serving actually affects your blood sugar, is so small, most people don't see any meaningful change on their glucose meter at all. There's more. Kiwi contains a natural enzyme called actinidin that supports how your stomach empties. When your stomach empties more slowly, your blood sugar rises more slowly. Multiple published studies have shown that 2 kiwi fruits consumed daily produce measurable improvements in blood sugar control among adults with prediabetes and type 2 diabetes. The same studies also reported improvements in the diversity of gut bacteria, which modern research now understands to directly influence how efficiently your body processes the sugar you eat. The mistake most people make with kiwi is treating it like a garnish, slicing it too thin and tossing it into a sweet yogurt parfait, or peeling away the flesh closest to the skin and throwing out some of the most nutrient-dense part of the fruit. The right way is simple. Slice a ripe kiwi in half. Scoop it with a spoon or peel it cleanly and eat the bright green flesh intact. Pair it with a small handful of almonds or a piece of cheese. The protein and fat further slow the absorption of the modest amount of natural sugar it contains. Now we've reached number 1, the blueberry, the 59-cent berry I mentioned at the beginning. Here's exactly why it earns the top spot and why most people unknowingly throw away nearly all of its benefits. The key active compound in blueberries is anthocyanin. Anthocyanins are the deep blue-purple pigments concentrated in the skin of the berry, and they help improve the way your body's cells respond to insulin. A published clinical trial found measurable improvements in insulin sensitivity after approximately 6 weeks of daily blueberry consumption in adults with insulin resistance. A separate long-term observational study in women with type 2 diabetes showed that regular blueberry intake was associated with significantly better long-term blood sugar control. These findings have been reviewed and summarized in multiple meta-analyses focusing on anthocyanin-rich foods. Now, here's the mistake I promised to reveal at the very beginning. Most people destroy those benefits before they ever reach their bloodstream. They blend blueberries into smoothies, which breaks apart the fiber and floods the liver with fructose, the exact mechanism we discussed at the start. They bake them into muffins loaded with refined flour and sugar, or they sprinkle them over a bowl of sweetened breakfast cereal. As a result, whatever benefit the blueberries provide becomes buried beneath the blood sugar spike created by everything surrounding them. When you do that, you cancel out most of the advantage. You're eating the bottle while pouring the medicine down the drain. The correct way is almost unbelievably simple. Eat half a cup of whole blueberries, fresh or frozen, because freezing does not reduce their anthocyanin content, alongside a source of protein and healthy fat to slow digestion. Whole, not blended, not baked, not buried under sweetened cereal. Now, let me tell you about Eleanor. She was 67 years old when she first sat across from me at a routine visit and showed me an A1C of 8.6. For those who aren't familiar with that number, your A1C reflects your average blood sugar over approximately 3 months. An A1C of 8.6 is typically the point where doctors begin having serious conversations about starting insulin therapy. Eleanor had been living with type 2 diabetes for almost 9 years. She was already on 2 medications. She walked 3 mornings a week. She ate what she thought was a balanced diet. She was doing everything right, or so she believed, and her numbers kept creeping up anyway. 90 days later, her A1C measured 6.2. Her endocrinologist, a specialist she had been seeing for 4 years, genuinely called her to ask what she had changed, because a reduction that large almost always means a new medication has been prescribed, and he had not prescribed one. She answered with 2 words, 1 fruit. What Eleanor actually did was eat half a cup of whole blueberries with plain Greek yogurt every single morning. The protein and healthy fat in the yogurt slowed the digestion and absorption of the fruit. No smoothie, no sweetened cereal. And she made one additional change that turned out to matter just as much. She stopped drinking the glass of orange juice she had consumed with breakfast every morning for 40 years. Because that glass of juice had been undoing the benefits of her blueberries every morning before she even walked out the front door. A 59-cent serving of one of the least expensive berries in the grocery store, eaten whole with protein, replaced a glass of fruit juice that had quietly been raising her fasting blood sugar overnight for 4 decades. 3 months, from 8.6 to 6.2. Her endocrinologist wrote it down. So here's exactly what you should do starting tonight, before this becomes just another video you watched and then forgot. Step 1. Walk into your kitchen and identify the 4 fruits we've discussed: watermelon, pineapple, mango, and any banana that has become soft, overripe, and covered with brown spots. You don't have to throw them away. You simply need to stop thinking of them as everyday snacks and start treating them as occasional desserts. Eat small portions after a balanced meal that already contains protein and healthy fat. Never eat them by themselves on an empty stomach. Step 2. Tomorrow morning, eat half a cup of whole blueberries, fresh or frozen, with plain Greek yogurt or a small handful of nuts. Not in a smoothie, not sprinkled over cereal. Whole, exactly as they are. Step 3. If there is fruit juice in your refrigerator, orange juice, apple juice, or any other variety, finish the glass you already have and let that be your last one. Fruit juice is one of the fastest ways to undo every positive habit we've discussed in this video. The fiber has been removed, the sugar has been concentrated, your liver receives exactly the flood I described earlier. Step 4. Keep whole apples with the skin on in a bowl where you'll actually see them, on the counter, not buried in the fridge. Eat them whole. The skin is where much of the benefit lives. Step 5. And this one may be the most overlooked of them all. Add 1 or 2 kiwis to your afternoon snack 3 or 4 times a week. Pair them with a small handful of nuts or a slice of cheese. Reach for them instead of chips or crackers when you want something between meals. Here's the lesson I hope stays with you. Eleanor changed 2 things that morning. She added blueberries, and she eliminated the orange juice she had been drinking with breakfast every single day for 40 years. That second change was every bit as important as the first. The fruit you choose to add to your breakfast often matters less than the drink you have been consuming every morning, the one that's quietly raising your blood sugar before you've even sat down to eat. That's exactly what we'll cover in the next video. The 3 morning drinks that most adults over 60 consume every day that quietly raise fasting blood sugar, and the 2 drinks that can genuinely help lower it. One of them is probably sitting in your kitchen right now. If you want your numbers to improve the way Eleanor's did, that's where we're going next. I'm Dr. Sophia, and I'll see you in the next one.